You buried me. I'm not dead.
Nice fucking model!
Good evening. Welcome to the horror of 1989. A tough one, this. I was rejiggling things all week, just based on feedback in general. Polls that we put out there. My first list kind of looks a little bit different to how it's going to look tonight. There was the vote on They Live. And again, overwhelmingly, 75% of people felt that it was a horror movie, and people were kind of justifying it as well, saying that, there's a lot of body horror in there with the aliens, some sort of uncanny imagery in there, paranoia and fear of infiltration, that kind of stuff, mind control, all those kind of horror elements are in there in They Live. And I know a lot of you feel that it's a sci-fi movie, out and out sci-fi movie, but I kind of get why people feel that way about They Live, that it can be seen as a bit of a horror film. So I haven't included They Live. I did remove a few titles, just because people kept coming up with other things that I'd maybe missed. Beetlejuice was one, which, look, whatever you say, whatever you Google on Beetlejuice, people call it a comedy horror, as with Elvira as well. And I think it's only fair that we have that sort of subgenre in there for this. What else was there? I put two titles in there which I was a bit unsure of. Serpent and the Rainbow, which I actually do quite like, and The Lair of the White Worm. They got pulled out for two more kind of popular choices as I was talking to people. We've put in Critters 2, Mick Garris's Critters 2. People were saying it's a travesty that Critters 2 wasn't in the original list. Well, it's in there now. And what else have we got? There was another one that I put in. Oh, Sleepaway Camp 2 as well has now come into the mix. So, like I say, the list's a little bit different. And also somebody pointed out as well, I mustn't forget, thank you to whoever it was that pointed out that Ghoulies 2 was released in 87, I think it was. So thank you for that. That one got removed as well. What else can I think of that happened this week with regards to this? A lot of people were saying Fright Night 2. When you look into it, and I was going to put Fright Night 2 on there, but when you drill down, Fright Night 2 is actually a 1989 release. Even though it's classed as an 88 film, it wasn't released until 1989. So that's where we've ended up. There are 20 films this week. Last week we did have 21. But we're back to 20 this week, and let's see how it goes. First off, I think we should take a look at where we are in terms of the finalists at the moment. So that's where we are. Those are how many have we got there now? 16 finalists, I think it is. Yeah. So from 1980, we have The Fog and The Shining. 81, Halloween 2 and American Werewolf in London. 82, we have The Thing and Creepshow. And folks, I managed to get an early look at the Thing Expanded documentary last week, and it is fantastic. You're going to love it. It's not finished yet, but hopefully when it's done, there's going to be some real surprises in there. So yeah, very, very cool. look out for that. The Thing and Creepshow from 1982, Psycho 2 and Thriller from 1983. 84 had Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. 85, Fright Night and Return of the Living Dead. Aliens and The Fly dominated 1986. And then last week we had The Evil Dead 2 and The Lost Boys win out on 1987. So it's looking interesting, and I have no idea how it's going to go. When I look at the list for 1988, I can't see any sort of clear winner there. There's a few titles which I think are all on the same level. Probably maybe half a dozen titles which I think are all kind of like equal and will jostle for that first place. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But thank you for joining me. 61 of you here at the moment, I think, or probably maybe even more, 63 on this Halloween Eve. Hope you're all looking forward to tomorrow night. Frank and I were going to try and go live tomorrow, but we just couldn't make it work. I've got work and I'm going out tomorrow night. Also, Frank has his usual thing with the kids and trick-or-treating and all that kind of stuff. So we just couldn't make it happen, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe over the weekend we'll be able to do it and see some of you guys over on TSL Movie Podcast, because we're overdue a show. I know we've been dropping some pre-recorded stuff, but we haven't done a live show since before For the Love of Horror. So we're aware of that, and we're working on getting a date fixed. Hopefully midweek next week we'll be able to do something over there. So we're 1 week away. We've got 1989 to come, and then the final, 2 weeks today will be the final for this. And yeah, very exciting. And then on the 20th, I think the final will be on will it be the 13th, I think? Let me just have a look at the calendar. So 6th, 13th, 20th will be a brand new series, which I'm working on at the moment. I think probably around about 10 episodes. Something really different to what we're doing now, but kind of linked to the movies that we're doing, which will involve some guests and things like that. But it'll still be hopefully interactive as well in some way. But I've been working on that over the last week or so, and a little bit of a rebrand as well is coming. So there's that to look forward to. Anyway, let's have a look at what year are we now? 1988. And the cool things that were happening during that year. Let me just have a look at that. We got some fun facts here from 1988. So just to get you guys into the kind of frame of mind of that year and everything, and what was going on around the world, the pop culture stuff, the movies, the music. Guns N' Roses take over the world. Appetite for Destruction finally exploded worldwide in 1988, sending Sweet Child of Mine to #1 and turning Guns N' Roses into the biggest rock band on the planet. And unfortunately now when he sings, he sounds like Mickey Mouse, which is a real shame. But Michael Jackson's Bad World Tour dominates. I didn't realize this, but Michael Jackson's first solo world tour was with Bad. He never toured solo with Thriller, which I couldn't understand. I thought I could have sworn that he did a Thriller tour, but he never did. So MJ's first solo world tour shattered attendance records. Over 4 million fans attended 123 shows, proving he truly was the king of pop. Die Hard reinvents action cinema. Bruce Willis became an unlikely action hero in Die Hard, setting the gold standard for the genre and spawning countless imitators and Christmas debates as well along with that. Metallica hits the mainstream with And Justice for All, fantastic album. Metallica broke out the underground, earning their first top 10 album on Unleashing One, their first major music video. Who Framed Roger Rabbit revolutionized his film. Robert Zemeckis' mix of live action and animation blew audiences away and won 4 Oscars, changing special effects forever. And yeah, bizarrely brought the world of Warner Brothers and Disney together for, with the animation mixture, the mashup that they did with that film. Great stuff. Coming to America rules comedy. Eddie Murphy's royal rom-com was a massive hit, full of heart, humor, and quotable lines, solidifying him as 80s comedy royalty. And then Beetlejuice becomes a cult classic. More of that later. Tim Burton's spooky offbeat comedy with Michael Keaton's wild performance became an instant fan favorite and pop culture icon. MTV Europe launches. Yeah, we had to wait a few years, folks. MTV expanded across the Atlantic, debuting in August 1988. The first video played was Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. And Bon Jovi go global with New Jersey. This is just for Frank and for Marisol as well, who I know is a big Bon Jovi fan. Following Slippery When Wet, Bon Jovi released New Jersey, delivering arena rock anthems like Bad Medicine and Born to Be My Baby, solidifying them with their superstardom. And then Farewell to Legends. In 1988, we saw the loss of several icons, including Roy Orbison, who died at 52, Divine, the cult drag queen from Pink Flamingos, died at 42, and Andy Gibb, Andy Gibb, the youngest member of the Bee Gees, or the youngest Bee Gee brother, sorry, rather than member of the Bee Gees, passed away at just 30 in 1988. Okay, so let's move over to this screen here. And there we have the horror of 1988. I'm glad there's 75 of you in here at the moment, because we are starting with one of the ones that may jostle for the top tier, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. So let's kick off that vote. Good to see so many of you in the chat, by the way. And the vote has started, I believe. You should be seeing it. Oh, actually, maybe I should put the link in the chat first. There we go. Let's put that. Totally forgot to put the link in, but there we are. There's the link, folks. Now you can vote. Pin the message. It is going. 65 seconds left. Quickly get that vote in, guys. For me, the countdown's not happening. That's really bizarre. Hopefully you guys can see what's happening there with the countdown. 50 seconds left there. Hope I don't have to keep refreshing it. That'll be slightly annoying. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, released on August the 19th, 1988. A box office of 49.37 million in the US. And on a $5 million budget as well. Directed by Rennie Harlin, who also directed the recent Strangers movies. But he did things like Die Hard 2. And what else did he do? Cliffhanger, Deep Blue Sea. We've got 25 seconds left on this, folks. Hopefully I'm not going to have to keep refreshing. But this is a bit of a pain in the backside. If it's going to... 9 seconds left. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2... 1. Let me just pause this. Yeah, we're paused on Waxwork at 89 seconds. That's the next film. Okay, so we're in first place with A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. 46% of the vote. That's 17 of you voted it in first place. 4 of you voted it in second. 10 of you in third. 4 in fourth. And 2 in fifth. Just a couple of bits of housekeeping on this, folks. If you don't agree with the movies that I've put in here, please don't vote for them. Because like something like They Live, if you don't agree that it should be in here, just abstain rather than vote it in last place. Because that's not a true reflection of how we feel about these films. Also, if you haven't seen a movie as well, it probably helps if you don't vote. So I appreciate that. Okay, let me just put that link in there again. Hopefully this is going to kick off properly again when I start it. But let's have a look at the chat first. Actually, a few facts about Elm Street 4. One of the largest opening weekends for a slasher film at the time, with 12.8 million. It's considered one of the highest grossing entries in the Elm Street franchise. The film blends surreal drama sequences with horror and fantasy more extensively than earlier in the series, and it helps cement Freddy Krueger's status as one of the horror icons of the 1980s. I remember going to the cinema to see this. I think it was the first. Yeah, it was the first Elm Street I saw in the cinema. Not the best one, but yeah, I do remember it well. Okay, let's have a look at the chat, see what people are saying in the chat. Sorry, I haven't looked at this as yet. Zara says, Divine left this world as I joined. Maybe we share a spirit. Would explain a few things. Roy Orbison, only 52 apparently. Yeah. He was. Myers fan says at best it's 3. Hopefully I'll stay awake when I watch the new 4K. How are you doing, Andrew? Is that Andrew? Is Myers fan Andrew? I'm trying to remember now. I think he is. Daz1428 says many don't care for it, but Dream Master is my favorite Nightmare sequel. I actually, on the last watch that I did of it, I actually thought it was good, and I actually thought technically it held up better than Dream Warriors did, because I think some of the effects in Dream Warriors are a little bit dodgy now. And there's always that is the cockroach scene in Dream Master? I think it is, isn't it? When the girl's on the weights and he bends her arms and horrible stuff. Awesome50 says, love Nightmare 4, full of energy and imagination, some crazy set pieces that still stand the test of time. And Kingslayer says, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is where the franchise peaked. I also prefer Tuesday Night as Kristen rather than Patricia Arquette. I think I agree with you on that one. Jason says, hi Darren, They Live sadly is John Carpenter's last classic film, and it's horror because it's the premise. If the premise ever happened, it would be horrifying. P.S. You and Frank need more TSL. Thank God you have this. We do. I mean, that's the problem with TSL. This is why we kind of do this, is that we can't always it's becoming even more difficult for us to get together on TSL. We are going to try and do something this week though. Hopefully. The last great Elm Street all went a bit campy after this. Top theme song, though. Did Harlan do this? I thought he did The Dream Child. No, Stephen Hopkins did The Dream Child, I think. The guy who did Predator 2, if I remember right. Colin, good to see you, buddy. He says, hey, everyone, have a good one tonight. Can't hang around for this episode as I'm currently carving my pumpkins tonight and getting ready for Halloween tomorrow. Phantasm 2, my favourite of 88. Wow, okay. Interesting. Well, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's kick off the vote again and see how we get on. And this is continuing to freeze. So Waxwork is the next one. Let me just, maybe if I close that might. Yeah, Waxwork is the next one. The voting started, folks. Unfortunately, the countdown isn't working again, but I'll keep refreshing so we can see where we are. 66 seconds left to go. Waxwork, June the 17th, 1988, a budget of $3.5 million. 808,000 domestically, so didn't do too well. Kind of feels like an anthology film does Waxwork to me. It's kind of a bunch of people go into a Waxwork, there's different exhibits, and then there's different stories that come about from each exhibit. You've got a werewolf story, a vampire story, a kind of sort of Frankenstein story as well. I think it's really good. I think it's a really cool film. 31 seconds left to vote, folks. Anthony Hickox wrote the script in only 3 days. It features cameos from Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and the Marquis de Sade. The practical effects were supervised by Bob Keane, who also did Hellraiser. 13 seconds left. We just see, are we still counting down here? We are. I'm going to pause it because I think that's about up. Let me just refresh. Yeah. Okay. For Waxwork, it finished in 3rd place. 5% of you, that's just one person, voted it in 1st place. 8 of you in 2nd, 9 of you in 3rd, 3 in 4th, and 1 in 5th. Not a lot of love for Waxwork there. I thought people, would be really into that. Let's have a look at the chat. Tommy G76 says Elm Street 4 was the first Elm Street movie you'd seen in the theatre. Brandon Collins says part 4 is where it started going downhill. It's acceptable. The cracks are showing in that one, though. Darren, did you get your 4K? I did. It's down there. I didn't get the Steelbook one in the end. I just got the regular one. I just had so much stuff coming that particular month. I just thought this is just too much. So I cancelled the Steelbook and got the regular one. Love Nightmare on Elm Street 4, first one of the series I watched and got me into the series. Have you had your 4K? Someone else asking me if I got the 4K. Yep, I did. Not really happy with the 4K that I've got though. It is. I mean, like the Steelbook one's incredibly plush. This one's incredibly shoddy. Very, very poor quality is the standard 4K one. I don't mean the quality of the discs. I mean the packaging. It's not good at all. Okay. Flix Pixel says, I can't believe you left Beetlejuice in. Mac and Me is more than horror than Beetlejuice for many reasons. Okay, fair enough. Myers fan says, yes, I am the worst jet lag. Oh, sorry, Andrew. I did think it was you. Yes, I am the worst jet lag ever, and I'm hanging right out of my ass from a really crazy week. It looked like great fun, and I'm gutted that I wasn't there with you guys. Originally, you know, Neil and Chris invited me along, but I just couldn't make it work. It would have been so cool, though. You looked like you had the best time. You really did. I was following it all week. What else have we got? If Flix Biggs says, I'll step in on the TSL podcast if needed. I'm funnier than Frank and better looking too. I hope he doesn't say that. Marisol says, I always love the individual storylines in Waxwork. Me too. Me too. I think it feels like a nice little anthology movie. I really enjoy it. Okay, let's kick off the vote again. And we have got They Live. Okay, 90 seconds on They Live. This is the controversial one, folks. This is the one that a lot of you didn't agree should be in here. But we had a vote and it won through. So November the 4th, 1988, directed by John Carpenter, a budget of $3 million, a box office of $13 million, an audience score of 79% and a critic score of 88%. So probably one of, alongside The Thing, one of John Carpenter's highest rated movies, I would say. Roddy Piper, Keith David, Meg Foster, George Buck Flowers. A drifter discovers special sunglasses that reveal a hidden alien elite controlling society through subliminal messages. Armed with the truth and bubblegum, he leads a rebellion. Great movie. Let me just see where we are on that. 42 seconds left, folks. 42 seconds left. Based on Ray Nelson's 1963 short story, 8 o'clock in the morning. The 6-minute alley brawl between Piper and Keith David is legendary. I love that. That's one of the best fights in movie history, I think. And you can't tell at all that wrestlers devised it. Okay, let me just check on the 13 seconds left, folks. They Live is in the second tier at the moment. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and paused. Okay, so They Live finishes in the first place in the second tier. 15 of you voted it in first place. 17 of you voted it in second place. 2 of you in third, 1 in fourth, and 2 in fifth. Interesting. So more of you voted it in second place. I'm glad that people weren't voting it heavily at the bottom because they didn't, they disagreed that it should be in here. Adam Allen sends in a super chat. Thank you, Adam. He says, I was born in 1988, a brilliant year for horror. The Blob is my favorite on the list. Thoughts on the Scream 7 trailer? I quite liked it. I thought it was okay. I mean, I'm not a huge Scream fan, but I thought it was really serious. The tone of it was really serious. I think that, hopefully Kevin Williamson's kind of gone back to how the tone of the first movie was, I guess. And I kind of wondered, I was having this conversation with Dave and Frank, whether the house that you see at the start, which is now kind of almost like I guess an Airbnb or a kind of like museum to Woodsboro and the events of Woodsboro. I just wondered whether some of the cameos would be like exhibits within that. And I don't mean like statues. I mean like projections or on screens or something along those lines, rather than people actually, coming back to life. And I also got the feeling like a lot of what we might have been seeing in the trailer would have been part of the opening. The stuff with Nev Campbell, all that stuff there. It seemed to show too much stuff for it to be an important part of the movie. You know what I mean? I thought maybe that Nev Campbell stuff is the start of the film. Who knows? But there's lots of speculation out there, and be interesting. Be interesting to see what happens come February. Okay, let's start off the next vote. What have we got? We have The Blob. The Blob is in session. let's see what you guys think. I'm gonna put the link back in there just again. Around about 80 seconds left to vote on the Blob. August the 5th, 1988. I think this would tie as my favorite film of 1988, I think. Budget of 10 million, a box office of only 8.2 million in the US, critic score of 64%, an audience score of 60%. I think when you watch this film nowadays, I think it's one of the greatest horror remakes made. Kevin Dillon, Shawnee Smith, Donovan Leitch, directed by Chuck Russell. A meteor crash brings a carnivorous, gelatinous creature to a small Colorado town, devouring everything in its path while a rebellious teen and a cheerleader try to stop it. It holds up so well, does this movie. It really does. The effects work. There's only one or two dodgy effects in this movie. They come towards the end when it kind of gets a little bit too ambitious for its budget. But on the whole, there's some really terrifying effects work in this film. It looks terrific. It does. Remake of the 1958 classic, co-written by Frank Darabont. The Blob effects combined miniatures, animatronics, and vats of methyl cellulose slime. Lovely. Let's see where we are on here. 8 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Okay, let me just refresh that and see where we are. The Blob is in first place. 18 of you voted it in first place, 5 of you in second, 4 in third, 4 in fourth, and 2 in fifth. Why would anybody say... Why would anybody say the Blob is worthy of being in fifth place? I don't know. Maybe we got some trolls in here. It's a great movie. It really is. I have it up there in glorious 4K. Frank and I did an episode on it, I think it was last year at some point, and really enjoyed revisiting it. I think it's such great fun. Paul says, I can't even remember the last Scream film I watched now. Certainly haven't seen any of the newer ones. Haven't seen the trailer. When I know I'm going to watch a film, I don't see the need to see trailers. Okay, Daz. Wow. That means you must miss a lot of movies then, right? Because aren't they like the sales pitch for a film? It makes me sound like I'm wasting my time at work all because I'm so heavily involved in trailers at work. Myers fan says the Blob is a cracker, really well put together and still looks great. It really does, honestly. Just watched the Blob recently. It's great, and Shawnee Smith was only 18 in it. Thank you. Awesome 50 said the Blob is an absolute joy. Never tire of watching it. Top tier all the way. And Zara says, always surprises me seeing Shawnee when I watch the Blob. Yeah, she does look young in it, I guess. She does. The Blob is a lot better than Freddy 4, says Don Mac. The Blob is amazing, says Wraith UK. Easily up there with The Thing and The Fly as best remake. I feel that as well. It'd be interesting to see how it fares against them when we do the final. If this gets to the final, which I have a suspicion it might do. As silly as it sounds now, I love the Blob. I watched it endlessly as a kid. Me too. I saw this in the cinema as well. The Blob, what an awesome remake by Chuck Russell. Top tier for sure. And Cheney says, I need to rewatch it one day. Make 35 Scream films and I will watch them all, says Nigel Budd. Janie says he's saying movies he knows he's going to see. I know, I'm just messing. The sink scene in the Blob is amazing, and Shawnee Smith was gorgeous in the Blob. Thank you, Chester. Thank you for that. Okay, let's move on to the next vote, and it is Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Let's see what we've got on Sleepaway Camp 2. August the 26th, 1988. A budget of $465,000, a box office of $1 million, a critic score of 36%, an audience score of 56%, directed by Michael A. Simpson. Pamela Springsteen plays Angela, Renee Estevez, Valerie Hartman. Angela Baker, now a camp counselor, resumes her moral cleansing spree, dispatching misbehaving teens with creative, gruesome kills at Camp Rolling Hills. Let me just have a look, see what we've got. 52 seconds left, folks. Shot back-to-back with Sleepaway Camp 3 in Georgia. Bruce Springsteen's sister, Pamela, plays Angela. The film features parody deaths referencing Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface, and filmed in only 6 weeks on a shoestring budget. Became a straight-to-video hit and rejuvenated the cult of Angela. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay as this film. I think out of the sleepaway camp films, I think I do prefer the original. 30 seconds left, folks. I don't mind this. It's got a kind of nasty death where the person in the what do you call it? In the toilet, in the shit house, that one. That's pretty nasty. And the ending when they're all kind of gathered together in the room is pretty eerie as well. But on the whole, it's okay. If you're a fan of sleepaway camp, then you know. Oh, right. Let me just pause there. We are paused 90 seconds. So, Sleepaway Camp ended up top tier. That's bizarre. Only 16 votes, but 4 of you voted it in first, 3 in second, 4 in third, 1 in fourth, and 4 in fifth. It means because 25% of people voted it in the first, or I guess nearly 40% of you, 45% of you voted it in the top 2 tiers. So for some reason, it's ended up at the top. That's bizarre. Wow. Okay. I'm surprised at that. It's not going to win, but I'm surprised it's ended up in the top. Cheney, Deshaun, I know. Yeah, sorry. That's why is it? YouTube's doing a weird thing at the moment by calling people at their names rather than their sort of scream names. So yeah, apologies for that. If anybody doesn't like the fact that I'm called, it's just because I can't see what your actual screen names are. Never seen it, never will, says Count. Tony Four says, I'm pleased to say I've never seen this masterpiece. You know what? Funnily enough, right at the side of me here, I have 2 and 3 awful films, really. The first one's awful, to be honest, but at least you can have a lot of fun with the first one. Love Sleepaway Camp 2. The third, not so much, and the soundtrack is great. Eli Cortez says, what's up, Darren, and all you Mr. Sands fans? Let me just check that I haven't missed any. No, I haven't. That's fine. What else have we got? Don't forget to slash that like button, says Eli Cortez. That sub button as well to this awesome channel. Thank you, Eli. Yeah, if you haven't, I know it's a ball ache when people ask you to sub, but it's a fact that only 50% of people that watch this channel are subscribed. It's the same with TSL as well. And I don't know whether that's because people don't have YouTube accounts or what, but it just seems like such an easy thing to do. So if you don't mind subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. And it does genuinely help things and help the channel grow. Proper out of sync around here tonight. YouTube is being a pain in the arse. Really? It is? Okay. Interesting. I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's just for you. I wonder how much you'd get for them on Music Magpie, says Nigel Blood. You know what? I bought them because we did episodes on them because I couldn't get hold of them anywhere. And so I think it was 88 Films that released them. So I ended up buying them just to do the episodes we did last year. Tony Four says, Darren, you're a glutton for punishment. Yeah, I shouldn't really show those off, should I? But yeah, no, they're part of the collection now. So I have them and I can listen. I had to refer to them for this episode, so they came in handy again. Right, let's kick off. Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Vote has started, folks. Around about 80 seconds left. Another movie I saw in the cinema on its release, January the 15th, 1988. A budget of 6.2 million, a box office of 9.2 million, a critic score of just 5%. With a Rotten Tomatoes score, audience score of 39%. Ken Wiederhorn, James Karen, Tom Matthews, Dana Ashbrook, Susan Snyder, Michael Kenworthy. When a new barrel of military gas is accidentally opened, a fresh outbreak of brain-eating zombies infects a suburban town, bringing back the undead chaos and a few familiar faces from the 1985 original. Wiederhorn directed Shockwaves, replaced Dan O'Bannon's sardonic edge with more slapstick comedy. Stars James Karen and Tom Matthews return, but as different characters. Filmed largely on Warner Brothers backlots in Burbank, and the MPAA forced multiple trims to gore scenes for an R rating. I never knew that. Interesting. Let me see where we are with this. 22 seconds left, folks, on Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Though poorly received, it's become a comfort rewatched cult film for its cartoonish tone. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's fine. It's great seeing James Caan and Tom Matthews in there, but it's too much comedy, too much slapstick in it for me. There wasn't the tone of the sort of dark humor that you get that you got in the original. That really kind of really dark humor. It's fine. It's fine. So where does it finish? It finishes first in the third tier. 3 of you voted it in first place, 9 in second, 13 of you in third, 4 of you in fourth, and 2 of you in fifth. So not as much love for Return of the Living Dead Part 2 as I thought there was going to be. I know Barry, up until recently, he thought it was better than the first one. We did an episode recently. He swore that Return of the Living Dead, for most of his life, was a better movie. Part 2 was a better movie than Part 1. And it's only up until very recently that he's decided that 1 is actually the better movie. And I totally agree with that. John Bates says, hey, Darren, not sure if you have done, but would love an episode on how you went from projectionist to working for a huge company and what you do. If you can talk about it, that is. I don't really at this moment. I don't. I will do one day. I have done on a private stream, talked about it a little bit more. But I tend to kind of just surface level talk about it because it's just be a massive conflict because it's movies. That's one of the reasons why I never really talk current movies, is because I never want this to be a sort of conflict of interest with my day job at all. It just wouldn't be right for me to come on here and badmouth other companies' new movies and things like that. It just wouldn't be professional, and I probably it wouldn't be appreciated at all. It's just not the done thing. But I if you caught me in person, I'll happily chew your ear off about it. No, it's not something I talk about really much online, but I will kind of surface level talk about it now and again. Things that have happened in the past. You'll never hear me talk about anything that I'm working on currently or that's coming down the pipeline. Okay, some of these are dreadful. No wonder I'd moved on to action by 88, says Tony Four Eyes. Cheney says, never seen the older zombie movies. It's something about not seeing older movies as a kid. Okay, it's fair enough. Return of the Living Dead 2 is okay, says Chester. Okay for a watch. Haven't seen it in a long time. Cheney says, I will notice all the fake stuff. I will notice all the fake stuff. Okay. There's only one great film in the franchise. Fingers crossed for the new one. I don't hold out much hope for that new one, Paul. Really, honestly. Return of the Living Dead is fun. Nowhere near as good as the original, says Frankie D976. And I prefer Brian Usner's Part 3 a little more. Second tier for me. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't mind Part 3. It's its own kind of thing. It doesn't feel like either of the first 2 movies, but I do appreciate it as a kind of, as a horror film. Current movies suck in general, says Don Mac. Burbs deserves a spot more than They Live. Isn't Burbs next year? Isn't it? Can somebody fact check that for me? I'm pretty sure the Burbs is 1989. I may be wrong on that, because I am thinking about putting the Burbs in next week's episode. Can somebody fact check the date that the Burbs was released? I'm pretty sure it was 89, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's kick off the next vote. And we are with Pumpkinhead. 83 seconds gone on Pumpkinhead. Good film, Pumpkinhead. I saw it when it came out, and I didn't see it again until just this year or back end of last year, I think it was. Directed, obviously, by Stan Winston, Lance Henriksen, Jeff East, John D'Aquino, and Kerry Remsen. Budget of $3.5 million with a box office of just $4.5 million. Burbs is 89. Thank you, everybody. Burbs is 89. Great stuff. That doesn't that's great because I've prepared a card for what we're doing next week and it's on there. So after a rural man's son is killed by reckless teens, he seeks vengeance through a witch who summons a monstrous demon only to learn the cost of revenge. The creature effects legend Stan Winston made his directorial debut. The titular demon suit required multiple puppeteers and hydraulic assists, and the film's moody lighting and gothic tone earned praise despite modest means. Shot almost entirely in Los Angeles, canyons and sound stages, and spawned sequels and remains a cult favorite for its blend of folk horror and monster movie aesthetics. 7 seconds left, folks. 7 seconds. 2, 1. I think we'll stop there. Let's stop exactly there. Pumpkinhead finishes third. I knew Pumpkinhead would be popular. What have we got here? This is Walter. Pretty damn average. Burbs is awesome. Everybody's saying, Henry, this is Walter, aka Vengeance the Demon, when released in the UK on video. It was called Vengeance the Demon in the UK. For whatever reason, I don't know, because it's a terrible title. I love Pumpkinhead. I know Jay from Wham loves this movie. It's all he talks about. Boy, did Lance Henriksen have a good run, says Brett Patrick. Love Pumpkinhead. Bit slow in parts, but the monster is absolutely class. The monster does look fantastic. It really does. And we get Dick Warlock, if you remember, at the start of the films. One of the guys that gets killed, I think. Pumpkinhead, awesome creature design. Average film, though, says Wraith. And Chester says, Pumpkinhead is fantastic. Definitely a great creature feature film. Also, the opening scene have Dick Warlock in it when he's trying to get in that. That's right. Yeah. You expect schlock with that title, but it's pretty good film, says Daz. 1 second, folks. Excuse me. Pumpkinhead is top tier for effects, but third tier for story, so averages out to second tier for me. Well, it finished third in the first tier. 11 of you voted it in first place, 8 in second, 5 in third, 3 in fourth, and 2 in fifth. So, let's see what happens next when we cast the vote out for... What are we voting on? Poltergeist 3. Let's go, folks. Poltergeist 3. Not that great a film, is it, really? I'm not really a Poltergeist 3 fan. I mean, it's really sad what happened to Heather O'Rourke. There's a number of shots in the film where you know it clearly isn't her towards the end. June the 10th, 1988. A budget of $9.5 million. A box office of only $14.1 million. Critics score of just 19% and an audience score of 22%. Heather O'Rourke, Tom Skerritt, Nancy Allen, Zelda Rubinstein's back as well, and Lara Flynn Boyle. Carol Ann Freeling, living with relatives in a Chicago high-rise, is once again targeted by the evil spirit Kane through mirrors and reflections. Final film for child star Heather O'Rourke, who tragically died before its release. I think she died before they finished making it, didn't she? Used practical mirror effects with no optical trickery. The ending was reshot after O'Rourke's death, leading to tonal inconsistencies. Right, I think it's a scene at the end. You see a body double of her from behind, I think. Filmed entirely in Chicago's John Hancock Center. Let me just check the time here. 14 seconds left, folks. And though panned, it has since developed a niche fan following for its eerie visual design. Okay. I don't know many people that are fans, but we have... There we go. 4th place. 1 of you voted it in first place. 3 in second, 6 in third, 11 in fourth, and 6 of you voted it in fifth. So it's currently last in the overall poll. Poltergeist 3 is sitting in 4th place. What else have we got to come? We've still got Beetlejuice, Child's Play, Critters 2, Elvira, Friday Part 7, Halloween 4, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Killer Clowns, Maniac Cop, Monkey Shines, Night of the Demons, and Phantasm 2. Certainly a year of sequels, wasn't it? Okay, let's see what's going on in the chat. Bless you, Darren. Thank you. Pumpkinhead is okay, but if I fell asleep halfway through the film, says YNWA 1974. It was released as Vengeance the Demon. That's right, in the UK. I thought this was a family-friendly stream, Brandon. What was Brandon saying? What's going on with Brandon? Anyway, what else have we got here? I remember falling asleep watching a pirate copy of this and then turning it off. I hate Poltergeist 3. Not as good as the first two films. I don't think the second one's even anywhere near as good as the first film. And Heather looked unwell, and it's sad what happened. Yeah, she did. She did look poorly throughout. P3, another absolute Poltergeist 3, an absolute pile of shite, says Myers fan. And Paul says, very poor, just boring, killed the franchise. Yeah, the remake wasn't too good either, was it? Just so showed up. Who's on the list? Says Anime Night. Brett Patrick says only good thing is that it's in Chicago, so I'm biased. Poltergeist 3 drinking game. Take a drink, everyone. Every time you hear Carol Ann. Is Poltergeist 3 the one with the tequila and the worm? I think it's Poltergeist 3. No, that's 2, right? Because Craig T. Nelson's in it. Marisol says, I believe they used stand-ins after she died during filming. That's right. Sadly, yeah. And Don Mac says, I love the first Poltergeist, like the second movie, dislike the third one. As with Jaws, I'm fine with just watching the first. I agree, Daz. Niche fan following equals shite, says Tony. I know there's not much love for Poltergeist 3, but I like it. Love the trilogy. And Anime Night says, Beetlejuice. And Nigel Wood says, why do we in the UK like changing movie names so much? I think it's an old trick, Nigel. And, even with the company that I'm at, we have done it in the past as well. When a film doesn't necessarily work very well in the US, they will change the title in the UK to try and breathe new life into it and hide the fact that it was a bomb in the US. Doesn't happen anymore, fortunately. But that was always the thinking behind it. And also, some titles may not mean anything in the UK. I remember a film that The Rock was in called, the US title was The Rundown. Doesn't really mean much to UK people. I think it's a sporting term, maybe. And it was then called Welcome to the Jungle in the UK. So it's, that sort of thing happens quite a bit, or used to happen quite a bit. Not so much anymore. Remember seeing Poltergeist 3 in a sold-out screening in the UK. I still prefer it to Poltergeist 2, but that's not saying much. No, it isn't. It isn't. Yeah, Tequila Worm is the second movie. Need that mod ASAP. Put me on the team. Is Brandon not here? Yeah, he's there. He's there. Of course he is. Yeah, yeah. That's. We only need. Listen, Brandon can handle it. Listen, he does a great job. And he's always here as well. He's reliable. I only need the one mod. I do have more, actually. Dave's a mod. Barry's a mod. And Zara's a mod as well. Rate Scary. She's in there somewhere. She's probably watching. Probably monitoring. Okay, let's kick off the next vote. And it is for Phantasm 2. Okay, so 90 seconds to vote on Phantasm 2. July the 8th, 1988. Quite a delayed sequel, because I think the original Phantasm, what was it, 79, 80 or something like that? It took a while to put this one together. Don Cascarelli directed it. He directed pretty much the majority of the Phantasm films, if I remember rightly. Budget of $3 million, box office of 7.3, critics score of 39%, and an audience score of 58%. James LaGrasse, Reggie Bannister, Angus Scrimm, obviously, of The Tall Man, and Paula Irvine. After years in psychiatric care, Mikey rejoins Reggie to hunt down the sinister Tall Man across a desolate America, armed with shotguns, flamethrowers, and dwarfed corpses. Backed by Universal, unusual for such an oddball franchise. Mikey was recast as Michael Baldwin was replaced with James LaGrasse. That was due to studio demand. And the iconic Silver Spears got on major mechanical upgrades for this sequel. Raimi's Evil Dead 2 is nodded to in one character's Chainsaw Arsenal. And critics were split, but fans praised its mix of surreal dream sequences and gory set pieces. 8 seconds left to vote, folks, on Phantasm 2. It's doing well. And it is in third place in the first tier. 12 of you voted it in first place, 3 in second, 5 in third, 1 in fourth, and 4 in fifth. So it's just not going to win, but it's in a respectable position there. Third place in the first tier. Let's see what's going on in the chat. This is fun, celebrating 88 here in Croatia. Cheers, everybody. Hey, thank you, Dino Rabbit. Brandon says, I'm here. The rundown sounds better, says Kingslayer. It probably does. Damn, says Cheney. Brandon is the equivalent of 10 mods, says Zara. Welcome to the Jungle is a really fun movie. I liked it. It was kind of that kind of handing over from Schwarzenegger to The Rock, wasn't it, at the time? Phantasm 2 is my favorite of the series, says Rando. Yeah, and what I love about the Phantasm 2 trailer is they use the Halloween 2 music. I don't know if any of you have ever noticed that. Absolutely love Phantasm 2. The ball is back. Zara, is that a fat joke? Says Brandon. Phantasm 2 is as good as the original, says Don Mac. Isn't there 5 Phantasm movies? I think there is 5 Phantasm movies. Phantasm 2 is a great sequel, says Rick. Can't vote, own the box sets, but never watched any of them. You are kidding me, Paul. Wow. Coscarelli also, have you never even seen the first Phantasm? I mean, the first Phantasm I think is the best one, but it's utterly batshit. It like doesn't make any sense to me ever when I watch it, but it's just great fun. Don Coscarelli will always have my respect for not letting anyone remake his IP. Good point. Phantasm 2 is the best in the series for me. Definitely the Aliens of the series. Yeah, it's a little bit more kind of action orientated, I guess, isn't it? But I love the sort of low budget eeriness of the first one, and I love the score in the first one as well. Like they clearly, took a huge leaf out of John Carpenter's book when they were doing the score. So it's a great little score. Ronnie's here. Hey Ronnie, how you doing, buddy? Just watched your penultimate episode today on your channel. Ronnie's been doing 31 Days of Horror. Did Halloween 3 today. I think you must have knocked about 10 episodes out in your back garden. Am I right with that? Did you do them all on the same day, or did you just wear the same clothes each day? But no, they've been really good fun. They've been really, really good fun. I've been enjoying them. Mr. Bright Eye says, love the channel, Darren, but do they really have to be 2 hours long? It feels like each movie takes 15 minutes to talk about. No offense. Thank you. For that, Mr. Bright Eyes. It does take, I don't just want to let this go. We've got to have some discussion about it. There's a lot of nostalgia we need to talk about here. If I just let this countdown go and we vote and we've just got 90 seconds on each film, the episode will be over in about 35 minutes. So, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And I don't want it to be over in half an hour. I plan all week for it. So it's always planned out as a good 2-hour episode. People seem to enjoy it that way. And, that's why we've got 70 odd people. We had 80 people earlier on watching this. So thank you for everybody who supports it and supports the length that it is. And no offense taken, Mr. Bright Eyes, but, episodes like this, I like to take my time doing them because it's kind of fun. This is the 9th week now that we've been doing this. And it's building up to the final in 2 weeks' time. And I don't want it to be just kind of like a flash in the pan. It's something I want to remember. So, but thank you for your comments anyway. Right. Let's kick off the next vote. We have Night of the Demons. Good movie. Like this a lot. You know what I really love about this? The opening credit sequence. The opening credit sequence of this film and the music, I think, is terrific. October the 14th, 1988 was the release date. Budget of 1.2 million. 3 million box office. A critic score of 44%. An audience score of 56%. What else have we got? Amelia Kincaid, Linnea Quigley, Kathy Padwell, Hal Havens, all your favorites in this one. Directed by Kevin S. Tenney. 10 teens throw a Halloween party at an abandoned funeral parlor, and an accidentally awaken demonic spirits that possess them one by one. Shot in a real Los Angeles mansion that once served as a mortuary, makeup effects took up to 3 hours per actor. The lipstick in the breast gag became famous among 80s horror fans, spawned multiple sequels and a 2009 remake, and it's now considered a quintessential Halloween night cult. Paul says, I think you do well speeding through them, mate. I don't mind you missed my good comments and read out my dumb ones. I can't read out a paused. Night of the Demons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Okay. 5th place. 8 votes in first place. 6 votes in second place. 1 vote in third. 3 in fourth. And 3 in fifth. Just 21 of you voted on Night of the Demons. So I'm guessing it's not been as widely seen as what maybe some of the other films have. Let's have a look what we've got here on the messages. I'm all caught up now. Keep the formula going, Darren. 2 hours is fine. Chill, casual stream is always fun. 2 hours is up. Thank you, guys. That's what I want to hear. Pause on enjoying the length, says Deshaun. I love the 2 hour format. It's an absolute blast. Thank you, Myers fans. You know, I've had people contact me and say they've rearranged their work shifts to do this, to vote on this. I know Marisol, I know she's been away for 3 or 4 weeks over in Europe, but I know she was contacting me saying that she was watching all the films that we were going to vote on just so she was up to speed. People like that. So I don't want the episode to be just kind of over and done with in 30 minutes or so. Marisol says, we appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Marisol. Wraith says, can we have 3 hours instead? Like Dave, he's doing 4 hours tomorrow with the 2 watch-alongs that he's doing. Loving the 2 hour stream, says Rob McGregor. Andrew says, Night of the Demons is ace. Another great fun horror flick with cracking effects and cracking arse shots. Okay, I'm trying to think. Is that Linnea Quigley? Is it? Fantastic looking 4K release from Scream Factory. Yes, I do have that. So glad you mentioned the opening sequence. It's great, says Ronnie. Thank you for the super chat, Ronnie. That's really kind of you. Angela dancing to Bauhaus as Sal looks on is iconic. And Zara says, would pay for a 4 hour episode, to be honest. Thank you, Zara. Second tier for me, pretty good, but no classics. And of course, it has Linear. Exactly. I saw Phantasm 2 because I bought a 4-movie DVD set with the Funhouse, DVD set with it. Had the Funhouse, the Serpent and the Rainbow, and now is a good film, a good 70s film with Dirk Benedict, where it's kind of like Tusk, the movie Tusk, if you've seen the Kevin Smith film Tusk, where the guy gets experimented on and turns into a walrus, except in this, he turns into a snake. Is it buffering for anyone else? Let me just have a look. I'm good, buffering like mad. Okay, that's interesting because it's not doing it on my screen. Okay. Let me know if that continues. Yeah, I swapped shifts and sat in my car doing these, says Tony. Excellent. Keeps freezing on your end. Yes, it's buffering for me too. Let me just double check that on my screen here. Let me see how we're going. Doesn't seem to be doing it for me, and I'm not getting any errors on my end. Maybe you're getting the tail end of that Jamaican hurricane or something. Interfering with internet. Is it just the guys in the US it's buffering for, or is it the UK as well? Who knows? Yeah, Kingslayer is buffering for, okay. No longer freezing this end, but a little pixelated. Okay, well, hopefully it smooths itself out. Andrew says, true story, Darren. Don't fix what ain't broke. The formula rules. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy what I'm working on for, what would it be, 3 weeks today. The new format, a new show that I'm bringing in, which I think will be really, really cool, really fun. Linked to a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, 80s horror, but a different kind of... I don't want to say too much. The format will be familiar to you when you hear what it is, because it is based on something. But I'll be able to tell you more in a few weeks. Okay, Zara sends in 999. Thank you, Zara, and says payment for a 4-hour long episode, please. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, stopped now, but has been. But okay, so the buffering has stopped. Okay, hopefully it was just a little glitch, but I'm not seeing any errors here. So no dropped frames, nothing. Everything seems fine. Eat a bowl of fuck is one of my favorite lines from a horror. Says Blay. Yes. You guys are imagining it. We were all wrong. Was buffering. Okay, the buffering. Let's kick off. Let's kick off the next vote, and hopefully the buffering goes away. And thank you for the super chats there. That's really kind of you. Okay, we are now voting on Monkey Shines. Monkey Shines is the next vote. George A. Romero's Monkey Shines, released on July the 28th, 1988. 7 million budget, 5.3 million of that in box office, sorry. Critic score of 53%, an audience score of 41%. George A. Romero directing, as I said, Jason Beggy, John Pankow, Kate McNeil, Joyce Van Patten, Janine Turner, and Stephen Root. A paralyzed athlete gains help from a highly trained capuchin monkey named Ella, but the animal develops a psychic link with him and starts acting out his repressed rage, turning deadly. Romero's only studio film for Orion Pictures, shot in Pittsburgh. The capuchin's real name was Boo. Let me just check on that. So we're 28 seconds left, folks. Trained by animal wrangler Boo Na. Adapted from a novel by Michael Stewart, Romero's original cut ran nearly 2 hours and was trimmed by the studio. It's a mix of psychological horror and animal thriller, divided critics, but gained cult admiration for originality. Not my favorite Romero film, and looks like not your favorite Romero film either. 16 seconds left to vote. Oh, the vote's over. The vote's over. My mistake. Monkey Shines is finished last. How did that happen? Did nobody get to vote on Monkey Shines? Is there an error there or something? Okay. Let me just refresh that. Oh, no, sorry. You did vote. I just needed to click on it. 2 votes in first place, 1 in second, 3 in third, 1 in fourth, and 7 in fifth. Not a lot of love for Monkey Shines. It's fine. And I think some of the effects work in it's great. But, yeah, I didn't realize it was so unpopular. And the format will be stolen. The format is not stolen because I'm reinventing it. It's not a YouTube format. It's a different format. And you might not even be familiar with it in the US. It's a British format that I'm looking at. Brandon Collins says, Ronnie, and we all know the likely suspects. What you mean, guests I'm going to have on? Actually, that's where you're wrong, because I've already approached 2 people who you guys don't know, or you may know, but who I've never done a stream with before, ever. I've approached 1 person who I have, but so far 3 people are already committed to it and think it's a great idea. Paul says, remember nothing about it, so can't have been impressed. Awesome 50 says, Romero's Monkey Shines is so underrated. Great stuff. Only seen Malcolm in the Middle parody of this. I've never seen that. That's interesting. Andrew says, have to get controversial. Monkey Shines is absolute bore fest, and the relationship feels a bit creepy. Ah, yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I expected this one to be in the middle, not so low. Yeah, I did as well. It's really interesting that it's right there, right down at the bottom. I thought Romero did Dark Half with Orion. No, I think this was his first studio. Romero's only... Was Dark Half with Orion? Maybe they're saying it was his first studio. Okay, maybe he did that. Because Orion did go bust, didn't they? And I think Dark Half was part of that. It took a long time for it to come out. You may be right on that. Maybe he did do 2. Okay, let's kick off the next vote. And it is for Maniac Cop. So the vote is live on Maniac Cop. Love Maniac Cop. Really, really cool film. William Lustig, who did obviously Maniac, amongst other things. May the 13th, 1988. A budget of only 1.1 million. No critic score or audience score on this. In the UK, I think this just came straight to VHS. I don't remember it being at the cinema at all. Tom Atkins plays Lieutenant Frank McRae. Bruce Campbell, Robert Zadar, who plays Matt Cordell, or the Maniac Cop, him with the huge jaw. Also to be seen in Tango and Cash as well. It was one of the prisoners in Tango and Cash. A former police officer believed dead returns as a masked killer targeting both criminals and innocent civilians. The city is terrorized, and the legitimate police force struggle to believe and stop him. Made on a very small budget, and has since become a cult favorite among genre fans. Let me just check on the time. 20 seconds left. Though commercially a flop at the time, grossed under 700k, it spawned 2 sequels and a strong cult following. The title Maniac Cop taps into 1980s fears of police corruption and vigilante justice, giving it somewhat a socio-political edge beyond typical slasher tropes. Okay, vote is over on Maniac Cop, and Maniac Cop finishes 3rd. Wow. I thought it might do well. I didn't think it would finish 3rd on here. That's really interesting. 28 of you voted, 13 of you voted it in 1st, 4 of you in 2nd, 6 in 3rd, 4 in 4th, and 1 in 5th. Wow, Maniac Cop. Not going to get through to the final, but it's doing incredibly well. I don't think it will stay 3rd, though. I think we've got a couple of strong contenders, 2 or 3 strong contenders that will make sure that Maniac Cop is not in the top 5, I don't think. Sid's patiently awaiting to be approached with a tap on the shoulder. Listen, if you want to, I'll tell you about it, Zara. If you want to come on, I'm more than happy for that. It would be fun. It'd be good to have you. Nigel says, I remember seeing the VHS for this in Blockbuster. I missed the 90s. Maniac Cop is great, but love the sequel. Johnny says, look, hey, Johnny, good to see you, mate. Says, love Maniac Cop. Kingslayer2999 says, I like all 3 Maniac Cop films, even the 3rd, which is most considered the weakest. And Brandon says the Maniac Cop films are pretty underrated, especially the first 2. There is a firewalk scene in one of the Maniac Cop films. I think it might be the 2nd. There's a whole sequence of him on fire in a prison, I think it is, like a prison riot or something. That is fantastic. What a scene. I mean, I love a firewalk scene anyway, but it is like a really underrated firewalk sequence. Andrew says, Maniac Cop is so badly written and directed, it should have been shite. However, it's fecking awesome due to the lead score and makeup effects. Yeah, obviously Atkins is in there. And Atkins' death in this film is just terrible. Isn't he like getting thrown into cabinets? Like he just gets thrown into lockers or something. It's just, it's pretty bad. Awesome 50 says, Maniac Cop, great idea, good script from the genius Larry Cohen and Bruce Campbell and Tom Atkins. What more can you want? Love Maniac Cop, says the Count. What's not to like? And Zadar needs no makeup. Yeah, he was a odd look. I mean, there's that joke in Tango and Cash when he moans about either Tango or Cash breaking his jaw. I think Kurt Russell turns around to Stallone and says, you broke that jaw? Because it is huge, isn't it? It's like I don't know. It's just massive. Huge face the guy's got. Yeah, Atkins got his ass handed to him. He certainly did. Maniac Cop is okay. Prefer part 2 when he goes all Terminator in the police station. And Maniac Cop 2 got a limited UK cinema release. The original went straight. Did it really? I didn't know that. That's interesting. I never knew that. I showed my cousin a triple feature of Maniac Cop, the original Maniac and Demons 2. He still hasn't thanked me, though. That's a pretty full-on marathon, is that, Don Mac? And frankly, D976 says, wow, Maniac Cop done surprisingly well. I like it, but 3rd tier for me. Okay, Cool. Let's kick off. Let's kick off the next vote. We have Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like, I'm not a fan of this film. I know it has loads of people really love this film. And I don't know. I just cannot vibe with it at all. I really can't. Okay, released on May 27th, 1988. Budget of 1.8 million. A box office of 43 point... You're fucking joking. 43.6 million this took. I don't believe that. That is insane. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Directed by Steven Chioda. Co-written with his brother, Charles and Edward. Grant Kramer, Susan Snyder, John Allen Nelson, Royal Dano, and John Vernon. I remember John Vernon being in this. He's the sheriff, isn't he? Evil alien clowns crash land their circus-like spaceship on Earth and begin abducting human townsfolk for consumption. A small group of teens must stop them before the entire town is harvested. 22 seconds left, folks. Made for just under 2 million, yet achieved very strong gross. A huge return on investment for its budget. The film's tone blends 80s horror comedy and a sci-fi kitsch, making it a cult classic. How's it doing at the moment? It's doing okay. 9 seconds left, folks. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the vote is over. Okay. So, Killer Clowns from Outer Space finishes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 in the first tier. 9 of you voted it in first place, 2 in second, 6 in third, 1 in fourth, and 4 in fifth. Yeah, I personally would have put it in the mid tier. I've only really watched it about 2 or 3 times, but it's a movie that never clicked with me from the off. I don't know why. I just think at that point, I probably wanted a lot more from my horror. But yeah. Zadara, now you're going to make me feel bad for going on about his jaw. But look, listen, it's not just me that made fun. Well, I didn't make fun of it. Kurt Russell had a go at him as well about it. Zadar had a disorder called chirubism. As he got older, his jaw grew larger and larger. No shit. I like Killer Clowns. It's bonkers fun, says Frankie. Killer Clowns is okay, but too tame in my opinion, says Kingslayer. Killer Clowns is a blast. Don't think my wife wants to see it. She hates clowns. Zara says I will forever love Killer Clowns. John Vernon has been in some real shite. He has. He's like, no, Dirty Harry, take that back. He was the mayor. Was he the mayor? I think he was the mayor in Dirty Harry, wasn't he? He was also in a movie that I love, a Richard Harris action movie. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but it's called Golden Rendezvous, an Alistair McLean movie from the late 70s, which I absolutely adore, and he was the villain in that. I love this movie. Still have the half-size clown from the Dutch premiere. Oh, really? That's pretty cool. $2 million seems like the go-to budget for 80s horror films. It does, doesn't it? Killer Clowns is a Marmite flick, no middle ground. It's not as funny as it tries to be. However, the clown designs are outstanding. Yeah, who was behind the clowns? It wasn't like Stan Winston or anything like that, was it? It must have been a fair. Was it like Shostrom or somebody like that back in the 80s? Can't remember now who it was. Never watched Killer Clowns, but I bet it's funny, but not great. I like that critique. I've never watched it. I reckon it's been funny, but not that good. Still making merch to this day, and they've been talking about a sequel ever since. Why has this not happened? It's just too late, really, isn't it? They did a computer game, didn't they, I think? Did they do a computer game? Yeah, I think they did. Killer Clowns is... I can't believe Killer Clowns is above They Live. Neither can I. All that stuff there. Pumpkinhead, Night of the Demons, Phantasm 2, all above They Live. The theme song is great. John Vernon worked with Eastwood a lot, says Brandon. And Ryan Gosling is apparently producing Killer Clowns remake. That'll be interesting. Okay, 83 people watching at the moment. Thank you, folks. That's really cool of you to join us this evening. We've still got a little way to go. If you want to vote, I'm putting the link in the chat right now. If you could afford a like on this episode, that would be really nice. And if you haven't subscribed, as I said before, a lot of people don't subscribe, and it'd be really cool if you did. Then you don't miss anything that comes up in future. Okay, let's start the next vote, and it's for Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Here we go. 80 seconds left to vote on Hellbound. Another movie I remember very, very well going to the cinema to see. I may have even gone with you to see this, Paul. I seem to remember us going to the Odeon in Bradford and watching this in the late 80s. Released on the December the 23rd, 1988. Just qualifies to be in the horror of 1988 by a week. A budget of... no, the budget's not defined here, so I'm guessing it was around about 3 or 4 million. And took 12.9 million, 12.09 million in the US. 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Clive Barker directed it. Okay, what does it say here? But the film credit may show as Hellbound Hellraiser 2, directed by Tony Randall and assisted by Barker. Okay. Doug Bradley, Ashley Lawrence, Claire Higgins, Kenneth Cranham, I think his name was, who played the Doctor in this. His name's not coming out on here, but Kenneth Cranham, I believe his name was. The Doctor is in. 12 seconds left to vote. The Cenobites return after the events of the first film as Kirsty is committed to a psychiatric hospital. There we go. I think the vote is over, folks. It is. And it's in first place. Holy shit. 18 of you voted it in first place. 4 of you in second. 2 of you in third. And 2 of you in fifth. Will it stay in first place? I'm surprised. I mean, I know it's a great film. I really like Hellraiser 2. In fact, I like it more than I like the first one. Isn't there something about the girl that's in this film? You know the blonde girl that's in this film? There's some really dodgy history. Something happened with her recently. Brandon, can you fact check that for me? I swear something happened with the blonde girl in this film. Like she's in prison or something now. Maybe somebody can just check on that for me. Killer Clowns. They did a game and a month later it was dead. Wow, okay. Didn't last long at all, did it? Nothing can beat Dead by Daylight. It has cornered the asymmetrical market. Someone cosplays as a killer clown at Dragon Con a couple of years ago. A visually perfect cosplay kit. Cool. Never bothered with Hellraiser 2 first. Didn't do much for me. Yeah, I was always a fan of the Hellraiser films. Up until 3, and then after that, they can go in the bin, I think, pretty much. A popular opinion, but this film is much better than the original. I like it a lot. I do. I enjoyed Hellbound more than Hellraiser. Less perverted than the first one. Hellbound is a great-looking movie and remains the only good sequel for me to Barker's original. Yeah. Agreed. Hellraiser 2 lost half its budget due to Black Monday. Really? Is that a thing? Okay. I actually like the second one. I only seen these 2. Cool. I love the first half of Hellraiser 2, says Daz, but when they go to Leviathan, it loses me. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, that moment, I guess. I love Hellraiser 2. It made me a fan of the franchise, and I like it more than the original. Let me see if Brandon's got some dirt on the girl. I knew that was it. Something had happened. Imogen Borman was put on a sex offenders list after drunkenly stripping naked on a pub bar and terrorizing customers. That's what it was. This is fairly recently, I think. It's in the last few years. Because I think she was at one of the UK cons not so long ago. Yeah, I knew something had happened with her. Damn, I just Googled the blonde, decades of legal issue. Wow, she's probably not well, to be fair. Hellbound, first place. I love it. Deserves top tier, but prefer the Blob and A Nightmare on Elm Street over it. Well, Elm Street 4 is not going through to the final, that's for sure. And Hellbound and the Blob are in first place. So, let's see what's up next. Halloween 4. It's almost Halloween, folks, and we have one of the most popular sequels in the franchise up for vote right now. Directed by Dwight H. Little, released on October the 21st, 1988. A budget of $5 million, a box office of 17.8. I know the Rotten Tomatoes score's not that great on this, but obviously it's a real fan favorite. Donald Pleasance, Ellie Cornell, Daniel Harris, Michael Pataki. After being comatose for 10 years, the killer Michael Myers awakens and returns to Haddonfield to kill his niece, Jamie Lloyd. Dr. Loomis and the sheriff race to stop him as the town is plunged into darkness and fear. This film marks the return of Michael Myers after a break in the franchise continuity. Yeah, and 7 years, was it? I think he was out from 81 to 88. It was filmed in and around Salt Lake City, Utah, and written in just 11 days. 28 seconds left, folks. The film's budget was fairly modest for a major horror sequel, yet it achieved a more than 3 times return domestically. It's gone straight in at number 1. The Blob is out of the final. The Blob is out. What a shame. But I thought this might... 10 seconds left. The blonde masked Michael Myers error, which was a prop mask mix-up, was left in the film and has since become a trivia point among fans. Okay. 38 of you voted. 24 of you voted it in first place. I mean, it's like miles ahead. Let's just compare it to Hellbound. Okay. Yeah, there we go. The top 2 there. 24 of you voted Halloween in first place. 18 of you voted Hellbound in first place. So, yeah, Halloween is the clear winner at the moment. So the 5 films that we've got left are going to have to really go some to beat Halloween 4. But we've got Beetlejuice left. We've got Child's Play left. We've got Critters 2 left. Elvira, or Elvira, however you pronounce it, and Friday the 13th, and New Blood. Let's see what you guys are saying about Halloween 4. Logan is live, says, finally one I can contribute to. Halloween 4 is going straight to the top, says Rob McGregor. My favourite one, Rachel better than Laurie, says Deshaun. Imogen Borman stripping, it's always the quiet ones. Yeah, it doesn't sound good, does it? Halloween 4, absolutely love this movie. That scene with Loomis and the preacher is an absolute hoot. It's so great that even Family Guy mentioned Halloween 4. That's true. Nigel Blood said that. Tony Four-Eye says if they had used that mask Halloween 4, if they had used that mask Halloween 4, if they hadn't used that mask, you mean if they used the mask in the poster there? I agree. Yeah, and I'm sure at some point, somebody is going to re-render it with AI and put the original Myers mask in there. I'm certain that will happen at some stage. Been waiting for this one after Freddy, says Deshaun. Rob McGregor says the Blob deserves better. Hellbound ain't that good. Maybe, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll try and figure out how to do it. Maybe I will put like the highest third place movie across all the weeks into the final, so we have like 21 or something, just as a kind of wild card to see what happens. I'll have a think about that, how I can work that in. Written in 11 days sounds about right, says Liana. Hey, Liana. Andrew says Halloween 4 is top tier for me as it really brought the franchise back to life on the Myers front. Pretty brutal kills in it. Great cast, effects, and score. Yeah, I agree. And another one, I think this was the first Halloween that I saw in the cinema, I think. And we didn't get it in the UK until like early 1990, if I remember right. After 3, they all blend into one for me. I'm long overdue a rewatch of everything after 3. This was the first mask that creeped me out, says Deshaun. Daz says, I know people love Halloween 4, but it's middle tier Halloween for me. Don Max says, I worship the first 3 Halloween movies, so this one is best of the rest, but definitely second tier. Brandon says, anyone voting 5th on Halloween 4 probably eats spaghetti with a spoon. The Mrs. Doubtfire mask with the shoulder pads take me out of it, says Liana. The opening of Halloween 4 is great. The fall atmosphere is amazing. The soundgate by Alan Howarth was fantastic. The score was great as well. Yes, it is. He does great sound design. And he did. I didn't know this until he did. Chester, we saw Alan Howarth perform live the other week at For the Love of Horror, and he was fantastic. But in the day, he did a Q&A. First thing on the morning, on the Saturday, I think it was, like 10:15 or something. And he talked about how his, done, I think he's done kind of more sound design work than he's done scores. And he was a big influence on the sound design on Poltergeist, which I never knew. So that was really cool. He talked a lot about Poltergeist, and he actually mentioned, and I'm paraphrasing now, but he did refer to the fact that Spielberg sidelined Tobey Hooper on Poltergeist. I can't remember the exact phrase he used, but he dropped a bomb on stage talking about that. And if he was on the production, he would know. Now, to what extent and at what point in the film, I've no idea. He didn't explain that, but he was talking about when he was in post, he was sat with Spielberg doing all the sound design. Darren, I believe someone gave George that pink mask as a sabotage to blemish the film. No excuse they're giving makes sense to any of that. Yeah, it is amazing that it's left in there, isn't it? It really is. Just saw a super chat drop. How was watching Nick Castle do the sit-up? He did a sit-up. He needed help, but he got on the floor. And at the moment when on screen Myers does the sit-up, Nick tried to do it and Sean Clark had to lift him up. It was fun. It was really cool to see it. But he did do the head turn towards the crowd, which was nice. It was a really fun moment that I'll probably never see again. Tobey Maguire's Texas Chainsaw is a classic. Shut up. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What are we talking about now? We have Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Can Jason and Carrie challenge Michael and Pinhead? Let's have a look. Let's see where we are with this. I'm going to put the link in the chat if anybody wants to vote. It's already pinned in the chat, but there it is again. Okay, released on May the 13th, 1998. Where are we at the moment with this? Let me just refresh this. Yeah, it's doing okay. It's in the top tier, but we'll see. May the 13th, 1988. A budget of 2.8 million. Box office of 19.2 million. John Carl Buechler directing. La Park Lincoln, Kevin Blair, Terry Kaiser, and obviously Kane Hodder's first outing as Jason Voorhees. Years after witnessing her father's drowning at Crystal Lake, telekinetic teen Tina Shepard returns with her mother and a manipulative psychiatrist. When Tina accidentally resurrects Jason Voorhees from his watery grave, her psychic powers collide with his unstoppable rage in a brutal showdown that changes the series forever. 6 seconds left, folks. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And Jason didn't fare too well in this. He finishes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th in the first tier. Still top tier. 9 of you voted in first place, 9 in second, 7 in third, 4 in fourth, and 1 in fifth. I thought that might do. I know it's not like a massive fan favorite, The New Blood, but I don't know. I thought there's enough love there for Jason in this. Kane Hodder, the look of Jason, which is arguably one of the best Jason looks in the franchise. 1 second. By the way, I'm recovering from COVID. I've had COVID all week, so apologies for having to stop and cough now and again. I've literally just gone back to the office today. That's why there's been no TSL action. We were due to go live last weekend, but I was floored by COVID. Which I think I caught at For the Love of Horror. But yeah, it's knocked the stuffing out of me this week. So apologies for having to mute and cough now and again. Yeah, I thought there'd be a little bit more love for New Blood, but I guess it's not. It doesn't kind of finish in the top half for a lot of people when they rank this movie. Let's have a look what you guys are saying. Always liked Friday Part 7, says Nigel. I don't know why, but I really like New Blood. Best horror film, says Daz. Friday 7 is great at 1.5 speed, says Justin. I have the bus stop poster, Tony signed by Danielle, says Johnny Rocker. Yeah, or the Halloween 4 one. Yes, that's a huge poster. Kane Hodder's first movie as Jason. Exactly, Chester. It's sad that Kane Hodder came along after the franchise had already started to decline. Yeah, the right Jason in all the wrong movies. Friday 7, not one of the best. Ruined by the censors. It was, unfortunately. The New Blood would be one of the more popular films in the series if we could ever get an uncut version of it. I think, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff's in the bin. Was just edited out and never kept. Just thrown away by the sound of things. Friday 7 works well with the Carrie versus Jason style storyline, but the ending is bloody awful when her father comes out and drags Jason down. I never understood that, really. I mean, I understood it, but it just never sit well, did it? Matt Pattinson, hey Matt, how you doing, buddy? Says that Nick Castle sit-up reenactment was awesome. I'm so glad I got to see that live. Yeah, it was good fun. It was really good fun. My absolute favorite Jason design. They should have kept it, but it's not a great film, so I have to put it in second tier. I appreciate your honesty, Paul. I think it's a fun one, but not two tier in the franchise. But not two tier in the franchise. But not two tier. Not two. Okay. I'm trying to. Yeah. Maybe I'm missing something there. Friday 7 cut to shit, unfortunately. My least fave, says Johnny. Didn't like Friday the 13th 7. The girl having psychic powers was stupid, says Kingslayer. Jason versus Cat. Well, it was supposed to be Freddy Jason, wasn't it? And then it all kind of went south and they had to get another idea in place, which was pretty much Jason Carrey. Friday the 13th was the real decline of the franchise, preceding Darren's favorite outing, Manhattan. Yeah, that film. Don Mack says if we could see the uncut version of Friday the 13th Part 7. Then top tier, but the edited version we have is at best second tier. Yeah, I agree. I would have put it on second or third tier, I think. But knowing how precious a lot of Friday the 13th fans are, I thought it might have done slightly better. Anyway, let's kick off the vote for the next one, and it is Elvira. Here we go. A lot of people questioning whether this should be in here. I think it absolutely should be in here. September the 30th, 1988, a budget of 7.5 million, box office of 5.5. James Signorelli directed it. Cassandra Peterson, of course, as Elvira. W. Morgan Shepherd. Jeff Conaway. Jeff Conaway. Wasn't he Kaniki? I think he was, in Greece. Eddie McClurg. Horror hostess Elvira inherits a house in a conservative Massachusetts town, only to find her late aunt Spellbook and a warlock uncle plotting to overthrow the town's prudes. And she must use her wits and winks to save the day. Though budgeted at 7.5 million, the film underperformed at the box office, earning just 5.5. Cassandra Peterson developed her Elvira persona from her late-night horror host days and carried it into the feature film. Filming was condensed January to March 1988, and production included quirky behind-the-scenes challenges, notably a poodle with attitude. Let me just see how much time we've got left. 20 seconds, folks. The film has since developed a cult following in horror comedy circles and is embraced for its campy tone. The setting's town name, Falwell, Massachusetts, is likely a cheeky nod to real-life televangelist Jerry Falwell. Whoever he is. Okay, so there we go. Elvira finishes third in the third tier. 20 votes, just 20 votes. 3 of you voted it in first, 5 in second, 7 in third, 1 in fourth, and 4 in fifth. Let me just have a look. Hey, Darren, part 7 is pure shit. Thank you, Neil. love some of these super chats are great. Regular chats, sorry. I've seen the cut scenes from part 7, pretty sure on one of the discs. They're nothing spectacular. Yeah, there are some of them that were saved, Paul. I think a lot of them are still missing. There's the Bush, there's some test footage from is it the Bushmaster 5000 or whatever that weed whacker thing is? There is some of them that survived, but I think the bulk of them are lost, and unfortunately they can't put them back into the film. I just want to thank Elvira for helping me make the transition from a boy into a man with that dance scene at the end. Congratulations, Brandon. I'm sure she'll be delighted with that. Loved Elvira when I was do you call it Elvira or Elvira? I can't remember now. Loved Elvira when I was growing up. Then again, who didn't? Yeah, I did. As a young man watching this film, I did wonder about the amount of multiple takes they must have done throughout the shoot. Too much info, Brandon. Maya's fan says, I never got the Elvira movie. It's just not the funniest in the slightest. Wow. I'm sure a lot of kids weren't watching it for the comedy, Andrew. Daz says, that's the thing, Brandon. I watched Elvira too late. It's a fun enough watch for a couple of reasons. Where did my moonbathing poster go? But it is a comedy. Second tier for the tassel dance alone. All these memories are coming back. I haven't watched it since probably the 80s or 90s or something, but yeah, I'm starting to remember some stuff now. The ones say Elvira shouldn't be in here must be the same people that say Predator's a horror movie. Oh God, we're going there again, are we? The more brutal sleeping bag kill is the cutscene I most want restored. Yes. And the new Predator film in the UK, by the way, is a 12. So they've obviously gone some distance from, what was the last one called? It's the same director, Dan Trachtenberg, is it? Who did I can't remember what they called the last Predator film, the one that went straight to streaming. They've now kind of like cut it. Well, I don't know if they've cut it, but they've made it. Disney-fied it, haven't they? They've made it for a young teen audience. But well, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a different version that comes out for home entertainment. I'm not saying it's bad. But I was just surprised that this kind of one of the most terrifying sci-fi creatures of all time, up there with the Xenomorph as one of the most terrifying, Hollywood's most terrifying creations. That's what I'm trying to say. Has been reduced to a 12 in the UK. But we'll see. We'll see if it's any good. Okay, where are we now? All ready to go with Critters 2. Mick Garris's Critters 2. Mick Garris, I've said to you guys before, I love Mick Garris. Such a great... And I was chatting to somebody For the Love of Horror who knows him. And I said, is he as nice as he comes across? And they said there's a reason why his company is called Nice Guy Productions. Because he just is that nice guy. April 28th, 1988. Critters 2, the main course. As I said, directed by Mick Garris. 4 million budget, only 3.8 million at the box office. Scott Grimes, Don Keith Opper, Terrence Mann. A sequel to the cult original. This film sees alien bounty hunters and carnivorous critters returning to Earth as a teenager's summer vacation in Kansas turns into a monstrous battle for survival. Though budgeted at 4 million, it earned less than that domestically, making it a commercial disappointment. It was the last Critters film to receive a theatrical release in the series. The special effects were by the Chiodo brothers, who created over 50 puppets for the creatures. Though not a major hit, it retains a cult following thanks to its mix of humor, comedy, and 80s sci-fi kitsch. 15 seconds left, folks. It's often cited as an example of an 80s horror sequel that didn't live up to its predecessor in commercial terms, despite a strong fan base. Okay, 6 seconds left. And vote is over. Vote is over, and it's second in third tier. First place had 7 votes. Second place had 1 vote. 9 of you voted it in third, 1 in fourth, and 1 in fifth. Only 19 people voted on Critters 2. Interesting. Let me just do a refresher of that. Oh, the Child's Play. Okay, let's carry this on. The Child's Play vote is activated, so let's let it run through. Child's Play was released on November the 9th, 1988. 44.2 million box office for a budget of 9 million. Directed by Tom Holland, Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon as the voice. Chris Sarandon, and the voice of the doll Chucky was obviously Brad Dourif. A young boy receives a good guy's doll for his birthday. Unknown to his family, the doll becomes possessed by the spirit of a serial killer, unleashing horror on the family and the community. At the moment, Child's Play it's creeping up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the first tier. Is it going to budge? Oh, it's gone into second place. It's gone into second place. Hellbound has been knocked out by Chucky. And the vote is over. Wow. Okay. I'm stunned. Child's Play. 18 votes in first place, 6 votes in second, 2 in third, and that's it. And it's managed to get into second place. So at the moment we have Michael and Chucky going through to the final. There's only one film left. We'll do that in a second. We'll start that vote in a second. There's only one film left, which could possibly knock either one of those two films out. I don't think it will. I can see I'm getting some shit in the chat there about the last film. I didn't leave it till last on purpose. Beetlejuice is the last film. Now, if you don't agree with Beetlejuice being in here, please don't vote. Okay, let's make this as realistic as possible. If you don't agree with it being in the vote, it is listed as a horror comedy wherever you look for it, and it has a lot of horror elements in there and tropes and, you know, kind of special effects and nods and winks and all that kind of stuff. I think it's fair that it's in here. I overlooked it to begin with, and somebody pointed it out to me, and so I've put it in. When we do the vote, like I say, if you don't agree with it being in there, please don't vote. And if you haven't seen it, please don't vote. We want to give it the best chance possible. Anyway, let's see where we are in the chat. Predator Badlands looks garbage in my opinion, okay? All franchises get progressively worse, says Tony Four Eyes. Who the fuck wants to see a watered-down Predator film, says Brand? I can't wait for Predator versus Care Bears next. Oh, dear. Mick Garris seems a great guy, but he's an average director. Yeah, he's not had a great time. You know, he's been unlucky with the projects that he's had, I think. Like, what was... He's had Sleepwalkers. Was it Needful Things? Did he do that? He also did the Psycho 4 as well. He did. But he hasn't directed really in quite a long time now. I remember that cover in the video store. Says Tony Four Eyes. Are you talking Critters or Child's Play? Critters 2 is a hell of a lot of fun, and the effects are solid considering the budget. Critters 2 is better than the original, not that's saying much. Critters 2 is the one where the huge critter ball at the end, isn't it, I think? Second tier, they're fun, but not classics for me. I do keep looking at buying a critter, though. Really? Do they sell them? Chester says, I enjoyed Critters 2. After seeing what Disney did to the alien in Alien Earth, the Predator will be saving the rainforest. Don't talk to me about Alien Earth. I feel like you've left Beetlejuice last on purpose, and I'm requesting a refund, says Sarah. It doesn't mean that it's not going to go through. You know, it could finish really respectably. Let's see. Should we, let me just see if I can get more of these chats before I hit the vote. My sister took me to see Child's Play when I was 10, says Brandon, and then took me out for Mexican food after. That was a great day. You can remember that? You remember what you ate back in 1988? I missed the vote, but Child's Play is top tier for me, says Don Mac. Pinhead is pissed, says Kingslayer. Yep, he's out of the top two, sorry. For some reason, the link for Chucky sent me to Beetlejuice, but I would have put it second. Oh, really? Okay. The Blob should melt. MM and Chucky on purpose now. Michael Myers and Chucky. Oh, no tears. It's a waste of good suffering. Child's Play got a bad press in the UK. It did. Wow, it was the third one, wasn't it, that got the bad press, I think. Justin Paul Good. Hey, Justin. Says, when I was in preschool, I had Beetlejuice doll that recited movie quotes when you pulled the string in its back. I can't believe I'm still watching that to this day. It's a great film. Mick Garris did the Stand TV series, which is absolutely solid, and the remake, don't wipe its arse. Don Mack says Mick Garris should have directed more movies. Okay, let's start this final vote. Here we go. And we are with Beetlejuice. 90 seconds to vote on Beetlejuice, folks. Let's see where it ends up. I remember seeing this at the cinema. April 1988 was the release date. I think it came out in the summer over here. It was about August or something like that. 15 million budget. A US gross of 74.6 million. Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 81%. Tim Burton directing, Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Jeffrey Jones, of course, among others. A recently deceased couple hire the mischievous bioexorcist Beetlejuice to remove the obnoxious new family that's moved into their house, with chaos and supernatural antics ensuing. Where are we? Can we see where it is? Let me just refresh the page. It's doing okay. 45 seconds left. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top tier. The film cost just $15 million and made about 5 times that domestically. Very strong return. Michael Keaton's performance as Beetlejuice remains a defining role of his career and an 80s horror comedy icon. The practical effects, set designs, and Burton's unique visual style helped the film stand out from typical 80s horror. It has since become a cult classic and a staple of 80s pop culture references. The success of the film helped boost the mainstream viability of horror comedy hybrids. Where did we end up? 2 seconds left, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th? Sorry, Zara. 29 of you voted on that. 16 of you put it in first place. 5 in second, 5 in third, 1 in fourth, and 2 in fifth. So that's it. That's how things have shaped up, folks. Wow. Just 1 episode left now. Just 20 movies left before the final. So we have in first place, winning, Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. Child's Play is second. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 is third. The Blob is fourth. And Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, is fifth. Beetlejuice in sixth. Maniac Cop in seventh. Phantasm 2 in eighth. Pumpkinhead in ninth, with Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, in 10th. 11th was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. 12th was Night of the Demons. And 13th was Sleepaway Camp 2. All those 13 movies finished up in the top tier. 14th was They Live. They Live finished in 14th place. 15th was Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Critters 2 was in 16th. Waxwork 17th. Elvira in 18th. Poltergeist 3 in 19th. And way down at the bottom, I'm not sure I agree, but Monkey Shines is in 20th. Last place in this whole horror of 1988 vote. So what does that mean for next week? Let me just go back over here. pull up the finalists as they are at the moment. So, as I said earlier, for those of you that weren't around, we have The Fog, The Shining from 80. 81 gave us Halloween 2 and an American Werewolf in London. 82 gave us The Thing and Creepshow. 83, Psycho 2 and Michael Jackson's Thriller. Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter and A Nightmare on Elm Street were in 84. And Fright Night and Return of the Living Dead won 1985. 86 was The Fly and Aliens, and 87 was Evil Dead 2 and The Lost Boys. We have Halloween 4 and Child's Play joining those 16 finalists there. And then next week, it will be the horror of 1989. I had a brief look at it today and put some titles up. Sorry, there was a bike going past my house. One sec, my earpiece is about to fall out as well. So the horror of 1989 next Thursday at 10 o'clock will include titles like, and these aren't final, these are just 10 titles that I picked on just by browsing the internet. I need to drill into it more. I need to get your opinion. So we have Shocker, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Halloween 5, Intruder, Pet Sematary, House 3, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, Puppet Master, Deep Star 6, and then I've put a question mark over The Burbs. Leviathan's another one Rob McGregor is that will probably be in there. Although I did prefer Deep Star 6 to Leviathan, I must admit. I thought that was the more fun title. But yeah, The Burbs, what do we think? Do we think The Burbs should be allowed to be part of the vote next week? I was late to The Burbs. I only watched The Burbs for the first time last year, and I thought it was terrific. I thought it had a real ominous tone to it and was, I thought, really creepy. What do you guys think? Do you think The Burbs should be allowed in next week's vote? I mean, we've got some really, we've got some big franchises, but some poor entries. Society's another one there, says Daz. That's another good choice. But would you put The Burbs in there? Awesome 50 said yeah. Zara says yeah. Wraith says Leviathan should be in there. I agree, Leviathan should be there as well. We've also got House 3, the horror show there. You guys probably know it as the horror show, but in the UK it was called House 3. It was part of the House franchise. First time watching live, says Timothy Eckhoff. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for joining. Neil says The Burbs was awesome. Let me just pull this down. There we go. Kingslayer says The Burbs is the best of that list. We need The Burbs, says Liana. Okay, can we end this at 001 so it's just over 2 hours long? I started late though, Zara, so, Before Corey got weird, says Neil. Corey? Corey? Which Corey? Are you talking, oh, you're on about one of the the Feldman. Friday 8 is proper shit, says Wraith. House 3 was retitled, never even made as a house film. The Burbs is not a horror for me, but I won't scream if you include it. Why not, says Duke. Yeah, why not? I think it should be in there. Hey, Pinocchio, where do you think you're going? Burbs is definitely in there. It's definitely got the right tone. I'm okay with allowing The Burbs, says Don Mac, or disallowing it. Fright Night 2 Fright Night 2 will certainly be in there. Everybody thinks, as I said earlier, Fright Night 2 is a 1988 film. In fact, I had people calling me out saying, "Where's Fright Night 2?" If you look, it was released although it's a 1988 film, it wasn't released until 1989. So yeah. Okay. Before my voice goes, I better sign off. Thank you so much, folks. This was a lot of fun. I really do enjoy doing these. I couldn't do this in half an hour. I'd have to, honestly, condensing this into half an hour, it would just, I'd need acid or something. But no, I really do appreciate everybody who joins for this. I think we topped out around about 90 people in here, which is just fantastic. And it's consistent every week. You know, everybody tunes in and I get lots of really positive feedback. And there is a lot of work involved in editing the intro and doing the different posts each, you know, in the days leading up to it. And then all the research on the films and arranging the tier as well and building that and putting that into tier maker and stuff. It does take a little bit of time, but I'd rather do an episode that's kind of well thought out and has some substance to it than just a sort of short 10-minute episode. I'd rather do a quality episode once a week than a bunch of small ones. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm planning on keeping on doing. As I said, there's going to be after the final, which will be on the 13th, I think. So the 7th, 6th or so. Let me just have a look at the calendar. I'll be able to tell you then. It'll be easier than me guessing. Where's the calendar? So next Thursday will be the 6th, which will be 1989. The final will be on the 13th, and then the 20th, there's going to be a slight rebrand of the channel and a new kind of series will start, which will probably last around about 8 to 10 episodes or something, all based around the movies that we all love and we've been talking about over these last 10 weeks. All 80s horror and things, but I can't tell you too much about it now because I'm still finalizing it all. Like I say, I've got some really interesting people coming on to take part, and there'll be more announced over the coming weeks, but I think you'll all enjoy it, and it will involve you guys interacting as well with some sort of vote. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, hope everybody has a great Halloween. Whatever you're doing, whether you're just staying in and watching YouTube or you're dressing up and going out, hope you have a terrific time. I really do. Apologies that Frank and I can't make a stream work this Halloween. We did try. We just realized today we couldn't make it work because he's got family commitments and things like that. Like I say, the last week we would have done a live stream, but I've just not been well enough. But hopefully during the week, maybe even Sunday, if we can get it together, I don't know. But we will put something together during the week, I think. And in the meantime, watch out on Instagram. If you go over to Instagram and have a look at TSL Movie Podcast or Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast, I think it is on Instagram, you'll find a lot of information about upcoming shows on there. There's also the Facebook group. For those of you that there's 1,000 people in that Facebook group, Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. Come over and join. All the latest episodes, news, all that kind of stuff on the channels is always put on there first. And what else can I say? I think happy Halloween is all that's left to say. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you very soon. Cheers.